All right, welcome back to episode 10 of my Stellar Horizons campaign game. A few things before we get started here. We just finished the economics phase for 2120, and we do now have a new mission to add to the pool. That's Chariklo with a crewed vehicle. Nobody has any missions right now, nor is there a public mission, so I'm just going to make that the public mission, and we'll move forward with that. So one thing I realized I did very incorrectly, I don't know how long I've been doing it incorrectly, it's probably just the last decade, but I have the North American CV5s over here on Chariklo. Now, I was using the range, I think, from Titan to get them out there, but Titan has an atmosphere, and CV5s cannot use bases in an atmosphere without a space elevator, and they don't have a space elevator. So the nearest available port for North America is actually back at Hygeia Palace over here, which is a distance of 6 away, and yeah, they don't. I don't think they have a big enough base. I have to check. I don't think they have a big enough base at Ganymede. No, they do not. So yeah, they should be limited from their Hygeia Palace base here, and their CV range right now is 4. So they do not have the ability to go out there. They can get to Saturn from the base at Hygeia Palace, but not out to Uranus. So I'm just going to move forward as is, but I'm going to reserve it, which is what happens to ships that are out of range of their supply, out of a supply base, and so they're going to have to head back to Hygeia Palace to resupply, and they're not going to be allowed to go past Saturn. So sorry about that. That's a mistake. They should never have been out there in the first place, but it is what it is at this point. So we will try not to make that mistake moving forward. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump right into the build phase here of 2120. Initiative this decade is North America, Japan, and South America. So here are the builds. Okay, so North America is going to resupply their 2 crewed vehicles at Titan. So they spent the resources to do that. They are also spending an ore everywhere to fix the damage from the event during the last economics phase. They've got damage on all sorts of their mining stations. Everybody does. So North America is going to go ahead and pay to fix that up. And then the other thing they're going to do is buy an LV4 and 8 resources and send it off to Titan. I think their goal is going to be to eventually buy a CV2 at Titan to be able to get out to Uranus quickly to try to get the Chariklo mission. And then they would like to buy their CV8 as well. They'll need to build that at probably at Hygeia Palace. So they'll want to get resources out there. I think they're going to end up decommissioning one of those 2 crewed vehicle 5s over at Uranus to do it. Basically upgrade that up to that the larger vehicle there. And you'll notice it's pretty good at exploration with a 9, and also the 5 combat value. So I think it'll be pretty good for them to do that. So for this turn, what they're doing, like I said, they're buying the 8 supply and the 4, the LV4. Okay, this may or may not be the best move, but Japan can build any size vehicle now, and they are going to go ahead and build their CV9, which is a huge ship. I think they're going to mainly do it as deterrent. I think they would prefer not to get into a war with North America here, but they're hoping by having this out there that might deter North America in the future. There are also 2 pirates out there. They're going to end up building this at Earth, excuse me, with money. So they'll be very close to the pirate that's currently at Venus. And then the North Americans do not have the ability to get out to Uranus with any real combat fleet right now because of their CV range and base situation. So I think what Japan's idea here is going to be to take on the pirate at Venus and then also try to take on the pirate out at Uranus and get some points for that. It is a lot of money. It's $22 billion. So this may or may not be the right call, but I think they're going to build that, and they They may end up decommissioning another one of their ships, but I don't think that'll be anytime soon. And then South America, they're not actually going to build anything. They are repairing the damage at their mining stations as well. They are going to decommission their Mars base, and I talked about this a little bit during the last episode, but I think the reason they're going to do that is so that they can mine supplies there. They only had one settlement there right now. They've already got 3 bases that they're trying to terraform and work on expanding, and I think they're just going to have a lot better luck with their 3 mining vehicles mining supplies there, and then they'll buy the other supplies needed. They'll buy ore, they'll buy fuel as needed to send out on their efficient launch vehicles. But they're going to go ahead and decommission that Mars base, and I'll go ahead and get rid of that. And then the CV4 that's inbound here, as well as the ones here at Earth, are going to be able to resupply their, or rather not resupply, they're going to get supplies at Mars. The idea then is to build out a supply station here at the near-Earth asteroids that they'll launch supplies to, so that they don't have to keep launching up their crewed vehicles from Earth. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to do that yet with the near-Earth asteroid base, though, because the advantage of launching crewed vehicles from Earth is that they do also have cargo capacity. So, like, if they send the CV3 back to Earth, resupply it, it can be sent back up to Earth orbit and onward with 5 resources, all on an LV3. So we'll see what they do with near-Earth asteroid base, but that's their goal. They're going to be mining supplies on Mars primarily to supply their bases. All right, mandatory moves have been completed. So we'll start with South America here. The reserved crew vehicle here is going to go to Earth and then be resupplied during the next build phase. The CV3 that's here at Earth is going to move on out to Mars now that it can mine for resources there. And we're going to see the CV4 do that as well. That should be it for movement for South America. Moving on to Japan. They've built their CV9 in Earth orbit. They do have the space elevator, and it's going to go off to Venus, and I'll show it when they get there. But it's going into the 1 box right now. There is a pirate there in Venus flyby that they're looking to take care of next time. This crewed vehicle here for Japan with the 6 ore is going to go off to Saturn. They're going to resupply at their Saturn base and also bring the ore along with them. With their multiplier modifier right now, their heliocentric modifier of 0.2, that's just going to take them 1 year to get out there. Japan does have a small spaceport at Enceladus, so it will be able to provide supply for anything CV5 or lower. So I think they're going to send their... I think they'll send their CV5 out to Uranus and try to take on the pirate out there. They do have 2 drones, so it's a somewhat even battle out there, but I think they're going to try to get those points and the cash that comes with the pirate. I didn't mention it last time, I don't think, but whenever you put the pirates out, you get $5 billion towards the pirate cash. I did put that into the pool, and right now that's 13 billion. And the other advantage for them to move out there is that they will be able to try to get that Chariklo mission, which I didn't put the token out there, but the mission is at Chariklo, which is, it's not a moon of Uranus, but it's there as part of the Uranus system. All right, and then for North America, the 2 reserved CV5s here at Chariklo are going to move back to the main belt. There's a pirate out there, but they both have combat values, so the pirate will not attempt to intercept them. That's a distance of 6 that they're traveling. Their modifier is currently 0.4, so that'll take them 2 years to get back to the main belt, and then they can... I think one of them is probably going to be decommissioned, and then the other will be resupplied there. They also have their CV4 here at where are we at? Ganymede. They are at there's a base there at Ganymede, but it doesn't have any infrastructure, so it's going to head off to Saturn, and it will try to get resupplied at Titan next turn, or I guess in the turn after that. And then over here, we've got 2 more vehicles. The CV4 is going to go out here to where the asteroid is at the flyby, and the CV3 is going to come over here to Enceladus and mine for supplies. They do also have all of these supplies that they bought. They've got 2 LV4s, so they're going to launch all of it going to Titan. So 66, that's fine. And 59, that's fine. So all of those supplies make it out there. They do now have 2 LV4s sitting on Earth that they'll be able to use in the future. Alright, there's no combat this turn. Japan is inbound in 1 year to both of the pirates right now, both at Venus and Uranus. So we'll move on to the exploration phase. So first up is North America. I don't think they have too much out there. It's been a few days since I've actually played, so I need to re-familiarize myself with where everybody has robotic explorers. It looks like for North America, it is only the rover at Sedna. It does have a spectrometer, so it's going to need a 13 for that. It did get a 3 and a 36, so that will be 2 physics, and let's see what they get. They get a 3 and 1, so that is a depletion. They get 2 world cards for the spectrometer, and they get M-class asteroid and hydrogen, neither of which apply here, so they'll keep the mixed ice. They've got a life check of 5%. They get a 40, nope. But they do get the politics marker for the depletion. Okay, Japan is going to target, I think they're going to target Triton. They don't really need a whole lot of physics research at this point. They have maxed that out. They can sell it for money, so it's not worthless by any means. But I think they're going to look for engineering with the telescope, and they're going to look at Triton out here. Oh, that's a physics, not engineering. They'll look at Oberon out there at Uranus. So that's going to be 2 + 2 + 4, and that is 8. So they need an 8 for that. Get a 3 and a 68. That is a success. And they get a 1 for engineering. The Japanese crewed vehicle here on Europa is going to try to explore. That's a 6 + 1 is 7. They've got a +5 to their crewed vehicle exploration. So they need a 12. They get a 4 and a 21. That is a recall, but they do get to pull a chit before. Their recall rate right now is 25. Oh, for the exploration, they did get a 3. So that is the final depletion there on Europa. And for their recall is a 3. So lots of good biology research there. They won't even bother looking for another world card. They know they want to keep the one that's there because next up is Search for Life, and with that world card that gives them a 19% chance. 30, nope. So no life, just the signs of life there. But they do get the politics marker for the depletion. Okay, next up is the orbiter here at Saturn. It's going to point at Dione, and it will need an 8. Got a 1 and a... That was a 00 that just fell out of the box. So 100, that's fine. They do get 1 engineering chit for that. And that's a 2. And lastly, their orbiter out there at Neptune will target Larissa Galatia Proteus, I think is the other one. And they will need a 10 with all of the bonuses there. So just checking for a malfunction, which there is not. So they do get more engineering tech, and they get a 2. That's all for exploration for Japan. South America has none. So moving on to a resource collection. So North America will, let's see here. They've got their CV3 here at Enceladus, and it's looking for supplies, and it will need a 7. It's a 10 and a 75, so they only get 1 supply for that. They do also have their CV4 at the asteroid at Saturn Flyby, so they will attempt to harvest that. 32, their recall is 20, so they're fine with that, and a 9 on the chart is 5 ore. They do also get a victory marker for successfully harvesting the asteroid. So there we go for that. I think that's all of the resource production for North America. Moving on to Japan, I'm looking around. Let's see. I guess they don't have anything at the moment. And then for South America, they have their CV4 here at Mars, and they're going to be looking for supplies. And Mars is an 8, and here we go. You got a 1 and a 41, so that is 3 supplies. They do also have a -1 to their roll for supply gathering, or resource gathering. So they didn't need it this time, but that'll help them on Mars a lot as well. All right, that is it for production. Next up is trading with bases. Okay, so North America, they are going to buy ore here at Hygeia Palace. That's going to help them build that large crewed vehicle we talked about earlier. So for 1 billion, they can buy 2. They've got 14 settlements there, so they can buy 10 resources, 10 ore, which they will do for $5 billion. I think that's all of the base trading happening at the moment. Looking around to see if there's anything to expand at any bases. I don't think anybody's building out anything at their bases this turn. I'm sure they will eventually, but I think this turn everybody's going to hold off at the moment. And so with that, that is the end of 2120. I think moving forward, I will do what I did like I did last episode, which is where I just kind of come back at the end of each turn. I'll show the builds and come back at the end of each turn and show what's been going on. But I will show the fights with the pirates when those do come up. I think beyond that, I think that's what I'll end up showing. Let me know in the comments below if you prefer this style or if you prefer what I had been doing for like the first 8 episodes. I think at some point in the future I'll probably try to play another game of this at some point, maybe one of the different scenarios. So let me know if you like to see everything or if you would prefer somewhat of the condensed version. Okay, for the builds at year 2121, North America is buying 8 supply. I'm going to send that off to their Hygeia Palace base to help build the CV8 they want to build, as well as just provide some supply to resupply ships coming in. Japan is going to buy the orbiter and probe that you see here, and South America is resupplying their CV4 and sending it back up with 2 ore. I think they're not going to end up building the supply station at the near-Earth asteroids, but they're going to leave that cargo space open to go to the near-Earth asteroids and start carrying stuff that's already there to their other bases. Okay, this is an update midway through movement. North America has launched 3 LV-4s, 2 of which have blown up. They didn't even get their resources to where they needed to go. They were launching 8 total supplies to Hygeia Palace. One of those 2 LV-4s blew up. And then the LV-4 they had at Hygeia Palace was sending ore off to their base at Ganymede, and it blew up. So a disappointing turn there for North America. They do get 2 engineering chits out of it, though, which are a 2 and a 1. Okay, so that's the end of movement. Not too much happened. Some crewed vehicles here meeting up on Mars for South America, on Enceladus for North America. We're going to move on to combat. We've got 2 of them. I'll start with the one that's kind of on screen. The one over there way in the top right at Uranus. The pirate now is a CV4 with a combat value of 3. And they're fighting the Japanese CV5 here, which has 2 drones and a combat value of 4. So a little closer of a fight than I think some of the ones we've seen in the past. But we'll go ahead and resolve that. First is the search roll. Black dice is a pirate, so 3 and a 1. There will be a combat. The Japanese ship over there does have drones. So they do get to subtract 1 from their die, so that goes down to it. Well, it was a 1. It goes down to a 0, so effectively 3 and 0 here, meaning Japan will have 3 tactic points. They also get 2 more from their technology, so they're up to 5. So they'll use 4 of those points to increase the total damage they do by 2. All right, now for the roll, Japan has technology that allows them to add 5 to their attack roll. So here are the rolls. So Japan got a 6 plus 5 is 11, plus their combat value of 4 is 15. So 15 on a strike is 4 damage, plus the 2 that they got for the tactic points, so that's 6. That pirate will be destroyed. The pirate rolled a 2, added to their combat value of 3, that's a 5, and that is 0 damage inflicted, and they would have been less than that anyway because the Japanese ship over there had 2 drones. So the pirate is destroyed. The Japanese ship takes no damage, and they get half of the pirate cash, which is going to be 6.5, so $7 billion. And they also get a politics and a victory marker. All right, and we have the same type of combat going on over here at Venus, except they have their huge CV9 over there. So we'll go through those rolls as well. Black dice is the pirate dice, 2 and a 6, so there will be a combat. That 6 is subtracted by 1 because there is a drone. So that's 5 to 2. So the pirate has 3 tactic points. Their enemy, which would be Japan, they have a CV9, so that is more than 7 points. So every full 7 points of CV size in the battle, you add a tactic point for. So they're back up to 4 tactics points. But Japan does have tech that adds 2 to theirs, which I believe should just cancel out 2 of the pirates. So the pirates will have 2 tactic points. So pirates try to avoid combat, but it takes 3 points to do that. They only have 2. The only other thing they try to do is make it a direct fire combat, which costs 1 point, which they will try to do. So direct fire means that the drones do nothing, and it's a different table that we look at when we look at damage. It's a higher damage table. So we'll go ahead and roll for the combat. So the Japan got a 9, plus the 12 on their ship is a 21, and then plus their bonus of 5, that's a 24. And on the table that is 9 damage, so they have killed the pirate 3 times over. The pirate there rolled a 6 plus their 3 on their token is a 9, and then on the direct fire table here that is 2 damage. So the Japanese ship has taken on 2 damage, and the pirate has been destroyed. The pirate cash is currently at 6 billion, so they will collect 3 for that. And then they also get another victory and politics marker. So that ship will probably want to head home, repair next turn, and then it'll be back out after that. Okay, so I did exploration, resource collection, South America collecting a bunch of supplies here on Mars. And then for base expansion, just built out a settlement at Titan for North America, and beginning one at Callisto with a settlement at Callisto for Japan, and both of them did a terraform as part of that. Moving on to 21-22. Alright, so for the build phase, North America's buying some robotic explorers, buying an orbiter, a probe, a rover, and an LV-4. I think a lot of that is going to go off to the Uranus system. And then Japan is buying a rover and a probe and sending that off to Alpha Centauri. South America's still not buying anything right now. They are just going to hold on to their money. They're mining a lot of supplies on Mars. They've got ore and fuel everywhere else at the moment, so they're going to just hold off. Yeah, I think they're just going to hold off at the moment and see what they need in a turn or 2. Alright, so that's the end of 21-22. So just more exploration and research happening. Not too much else of note to discuss. Titan had a settlement being built, and another step of terraforming there. One more step at Titan, and that will be halfway terraformed. Moving on now to 2123. Okay, build phase for 2123. North America is buying a rover and 4 supplies. That puts them down to $3 billion. That's the only thing being built this turn, though there were crewed vehicles at Hygeia Palace to resupply for North America, and also here for Japan at Enceladus. I know I had talked about maybe scrapping one of those 2 CVs for North America, but I think at the moment they're going to keep it. They should be able to build their large crewed vehicle next turn. So that is the goal there. I think the plan for this turn is just kind of more of the same, to be honest. South America is doing a great job of collecting resources here. They're going to be focusing on one base at a time, I think, just to get maybe a little bit of focus here, a little bit of... it feels like they're a little spread out at the moment. They're going to focus on Venus at the moment. That's at just 1 terraform rating right now. And then after Venus is at least half terraform, they might move on. So they're going to bring all of these supplies here. Both of these ships are full. They're going to go out to Venus and drop them off. That's their goal. And the North America and Japan are just going to continue to work out here in the Jupiter and Saturn areas to collect as many resources as they can. And I think we're going to see a bit of a robotic push out to the outer parts of the solar system out there towards Uranus, Neptune, and the Kuiper Belt. So that's the plan here for 2123. I'll move on to mandatory movement and the rest of the turn and report back at the end. All right, so that's the end of 2123. More resource collection. All of these South American ships have gone off camera over to Venus. They're going to drop off everything they have over there. Japan collected a few supplies here at Europa. I think next turn they're going to move over to the Russian base here and buy some ore over there. North America collected supplies at Enceladus. Japan, this might have happened last turn. Yeah, it must have happened last turn. They did end up getting the mission at Chariklo. They depleted Chariklo and got that mission. So right now there are no missions currently active. And North America did sell some supplies here at Ganymede, which is counterintuitive, it seems like, to what they're trying to do. But they did need the cash, so they sold 4 supplies for $8 billion. And they had enough left over then to build a settlement and terraform as well. So they're at 4 here at Ganymede. So with that, that is the end of 2123. Okay, build phase for 2124. North America is building their Intrepid CV-8 at their Hygeia Palace base with all of the resources you see there on the table. They're also building a flyby, and they're going to try to get up to Alpha Centauri with that. Japan is buying another LV-4. They have lost theirs, so they're buying an LV-4 and 4 ore to send out to Callisto. And South America is going to buy 4 supply there and send it out to their base at Venus. So I'll go through, do mandatory moves, and report back at the end of the turn. All right, so I've just finished up the movement phase. I just want to kind of show where we're at here. So in terms of what everybody's got, North America's currently got 6 crewed vehicles, Japan's got 4, and South America's got 3. And the goal, so North America's got 3 mining vehicles and 3 exploration vehicles. The exploration vehicles, the CV-5s right now, are at moons of Saturn, and their new Intrepid is heading off to the Trojans and the Greeks to do exploration there. And the mining vehicles are all looking for supplies. For Japan, the Yamato, the CV-9, is heading over to the Comet to try to get that last exploration there. And then they also have, this got moved over here. That got moved over from Uranus. This is the one that explored Chariklo. The CV-4 here is looking for fuel, and the CV-4 here is going to be buying ore. And for South America, they have 3 vehicles. This one's going to come into Mars to look for resources, and then there's 2 right now on Venus that are they delivered supplies, and they'll be heading back out to Mars here as well. So just some notes after North America did their exploration. The crewed vehicle here did get a depletion and found signs of life. And then the rover that finally made it to Triton did get a depletion, but also had a malfunction. All right, so that's the end of 21-24. A lot of North American vehicles over here got reserved. They got recalled. Yeah, not a whole lot else going on out there. Venus is the only location that ended up having base expansion. So they are now at 2 with the South American base there. And that's about it. All right, so moving on now to 21-25. All right, build phase. North America buying 1 supply, 1 ore. Going to send it to Mars. I think they're going to put a research station there. They are short on biology with not a whole lot of opportunities to get it. And they would really like to be able to at least get the CV range extension technology. Japan's buying 4 resources to send off to, I think, Enceladus. Either Enceladus or Callisto, one of the two. And then South America's buying the same thing, and they're going to send it off to Europa. Okay, the end of the year here. Venus, Callisto, and Europa have all added 1 to their terraform rating. So right now Venus is at 3, Europa's at 3, Callisto's at 2, Ganymede's at 4, Enceladus is at 5, Titan's at 8, and Ceres is at 1. Had a few more recalls, a few, the rover that North America sent all the way out to the Kuiper Belt was immediately malfunctioned as well, just like what happened at Triton the last turn. The orbiter that Japan had at Saturn, same thing, had the recall there. And I think that's all of, I think that's most of the interesting stuff that happened there. So that's the end of 21-25, moving on into 21-26. All right, for the build phase, just more resource buying. North America buying 3 fuel and a supply to send to Titan. Japan buying 4 supply to send to Enceladus. Yeah, but they've got fuel coming in from that crewed vehicle at Saturn. And South America's buying 4 supply and sending it to Venus. All right, at the end of the year, the worlds that ended up getting terraformed were Enceladus and Venus. Both Japan and South America built a settlement and did terraforming there as well. So we're moving on now to the year 21-27. There were actually one more note about 21-26. There were quite a few robotic malfunctions again. You'll notice there's nothing left at Uranus. Both orbiters ended up becoming both of them ended up malfunctioning out there, the one for Japan and the one for North America. So there's not a whole lot of at least robotic exploration left out there, and both North America and Japan have like no cash left. North America's got 1 billion and Japan's got 2. So we probably won't see a whole lot more of that for the decade. So moving on to the build phase of 21-27. I think the only thing we're going to see happen here are 4 more supplies being bought by South America. They're just going to keep on shipping them out to Venus. Yeah, I think that's all they're going to do. Oh, one other thing from the base expansion phase for the last year. Japan is upgrading their small spaceport at Enceladus. There was 4 ore here. They're upgrading that to a large spaceport. That way the large CV9 they've built can explore further beyond Jupiter. Also, I'm correcting another mistake I made. The reserved CV5 that was here at Dione went to Titan last time to resupply. It cannot do that. So instead, it would have gone out here to the main belt. So it should be in the 1 box right now of the main belt. And this CV3 will be resupplied there at Titan as well. So I'm sorry, I'm going a little out of order. I forgot again that CV5 is not allowed there at Titan. All right, at the end of 2127, the only thing getting terraformed this time was Venus. South America built a settlement there. Yeah, I don't think there's too much else of note here. There were a few crude depletions out here. North America got one here and here. Japan got one out at Oberon. Yeah, I think with that, we're moving on now to 2128. Only thing being bought, South America is going to pay $2 to resupply the vehicle they've got on Earth. They're also buying an LV-4 to launch the vehicle, as well as 2 fuel and a supply to send along with it. It's a CV-4, it's got room for 6, and it's already bringing up 3 supplies it brought back to Earth with it. And so with that, we'll move on to, I'll move on to movement and exploration. Okay, I'm nearing the end of the exploration phase, but Japan did arrive at Alpha Centauri with their rover and probe. So I thought I would go ahead and do that on camera here. So the probe needs a 9 plus a 7 plus a 4, so they need a 20. So they just get 2 chits automatically. So we need to see what type it's going to be. Rolled a 9, a little off camera there, but there's 9. 9 is biology, and so we'll pull 2 biology chits, and they got a 2 and a 5, so that is a depletion, and life check for biology is 10%. I get a 28, no. Okay, so we're now at the end of 2128. There's no base expansion happening this year. Looking around, had a few recalls. You can see North America had a recall here, Japan had a recall here. Japan also recalled all the way out at the moon over there at Uranus. So we'll have to resupply some of these here, but otherwise, yeah, nothing else much happening here. So we'll move on to 2129. In the build phase, North America is going to decommission the CV-5 here at Hygeia Palace, and it's a 653, so they get half of each of those numbers, but we do need to subtract out 1 supply and fuel before we have it. And then all of those resources will go to Hygeia Palace, and I will figure out the rest of the builds, if any. The main reason they did that they did that is because that new CV, what they build, CV-8, I think, yeah, CV-8 kind of replaces it, and they didn't want to be too far over their crude vehicle limit, since we're at the last turn here of the decade. Yeah, so the only purchases, South America readied up their CV-3 on Earth. It had 3 supplies with it. They bought 2 more. They do have an LV-3, so they're going to launch it back up into space with that LV-3. But that is all for the purchasing this turn. All right, so I've gone ahead and gone through the rest of the year here for 2129. Titan and Venus have both been terraformed one more step. Titan is now at 9, which puts it at halfway, so that's going to be a lot of nice points for North America at the moment, assuming that they continue to hold the lead on number of settlements there. Just kind of go through each of the bases here. So for North America, I know this is kind of hard to see, but I'll point out what I can here. I try to use unused mission markers where possible. So we've got Mars has 5 settlements. This is Hygeia Palace. They're at 14. Titan's at 11, and Ganymede is at 5. And coming down here to Japan, see if I can avoid the glare a little bit. This is their base at Callisto. It's got 2 settlements. Their base here at Hygeia Palace with 4, and the base at Enceladus with 7. And then South America's got, again, I apologize for the glare, this is their near-Earth asteroid base at the bottom left. Their Ceres base has just 1 settlement at the moment. Venus is up to 6, and this base is Europa, and it's at 5. So everybody's doing pretty well with their terraforming and getting settlements out at terraformed worlds. You can see I did have to clear out the engineering markers at one point. And when I did that, North America had 39 and Japan had 33. And you can kind of see how much Japan has in terms of technology, as well as North America. So they both did pretty well. South America wasn't trying really at all. They got a few biology chits just from recalls, but they didn't really. They're really not looking for much more in the way of technology. I think they're going to really focus on base building as their hope here for a lot of points. They would still like the base construction cost, or not the terraforming cost down to 3, but that's kind of a ways away, and I don't think it's worth for them to focus on that. So yeah, so this decade we did see the end of all of the exploration here at the comet, so there's nothing left to explore, except for the sun itself does have a full 5 points of value. There's no other exploration out there until you get to Jupiter itself, but none of its moons have anything left. Saturn's got 1 left, but none of its moons have anything left. You have to go all the way out to Uranus before you start getting any exploration values left. So I think we'll see North America and Japan move out there in the next decade. North America is looking to get unlimited crew vehicle range along with Japan. I think North America might build a base out there somewhere, if for no other reason than to just get a supply station. Because right now anything larger than a CV4 has to go all the way back to Hygeia Palace to be resupplied for North America. I guess that's unless they get space elevators, which, now that I'm looking at it, they've got more than enough engineering tech. So yes, let me back up and say North America should be getting space elevator tech this turn, which will allow them to use Titan as their resupply point. But they may still want to put something out in the Neptune area. The settlements out there are worth a lot of points, but there's nothing out there to terraform. So we'll just kind of see how the next decade plays out. Yeah, and we'll move on into the economics phase of 2130. All right, first things first, everybody gets 2 politics markers, and then South and North America both get 2 more for their policies. So that puts North America here at 16, Japan is 16, so they're both at 16, and then South America at 4. All right, now we have 2 events. First one is 75. That is survey error, so we will roll percentiles and figure out which world it is. 24. Well, that is Mars, so I don't think North or South America are going to be too happy with what they pull here. I've noticed through pulling, there are a lot of still like asteroid and gas giant ones. So they ended up getting volcanoes. So I think I probably mentioned this like a few episodes ago. This actually does not work on Mars because Mars is an icy, rocky planet. Even though the picture of the volcano is a volcano on Mars. I'm like 95% sure. So that does not apply. Subterranean water will stick there. It seems to me like, I guess it's not active volcanoes anymore. From at least I think that's true. I could be wrong on that, but maybe that's why it's not volcanic. But it seems like volcanic should maybe work for Mars. All right, and then event number 2 is 50. 50 is immigration. The player with the fewest settlements everywhere can add 2 to any base they control. So it's definitely not North America. I had to count between the other 2. Japan has 13, South America has 12. So South America will get 2 to any base they control. I think we'll go ahead and put them at Venus. Europa might be the better call here, but Venus is the one that's about to be at least half terraformed. So I think they are going to go with Venus, so Venus is now at 8. Okay, initiative step. Japan is going to spend 2 politics markers here. Is it 2? Let me check the rules. Yeah, they can spend 2 or fewer because they are currently in second place of initiative. So they're going to add 2 to add 20% to their initiative roll. So both them and North America will be at plus 40% based on their policies. So here is the roll for North America. They get a 124. Japan gets a larger number than that, 131, and South America gets 61 from their policies. So North America and Japan will flip-flop. Japan wanted to spend those points because it has been increasingly apparent how important the asteroids and pirates are from a victory point perspective, and it seems like initiative is quite important for that. So Japan went ahead of North America there on initiative. Next up, diplomacy. We'll see if any faction goes towards neutral. 7. 7 is South America. So all of their relations are going to go down 1. That was North America. So I've already moved them here. But North America moved down 1, and Asia moved down 1. Asia moved to neutral, so I just removed the flag. And then I'll move South America's down on North America's sheet as well. I'm really torn as to what to do here now for the politics stage. On one hand, I would like to really see what combat is like between two factions. On the other hand, it feels like both factions are kind of doing their own thing and playing maybe somewhat passively here and just trying to build out their own bases. I don't know that embargo would necessarily benefit either of them. I don't think either of them currently see South America as a threat, but if North America and Japan really started to go at each other and embargo or war here, it is possible that South America, they have a lot of good base locations right now and are really focusing on resource collection. They're definitely not going to win the tech points, but if left unchecked while the other two are fighting each other, South America could get a lot of points from their colonies. All right, well, the first one to decide about is South America. They have 4 politics markers. They're going to spend 3 of them to try to work on increasing their relations. They're going to try to increase relations here with Asia and China. So first up is Asia, 5, yes, and China, 4, yes. Okay, next up is North America. I think I'm just going to let the dice decide. I think North America is going to use 1 politics marker to try to move to embargo with Japan, and then I think Japan is going to try to spend a politics marker. I guess it depends. Japan is last in the initiative order for rolling this. They are going to try to move it back to neutral if it gets moved to embargo. So here's the one for moving to embargo for North America. So yes, North America has moved to embargo with Japan, and they spent a politics marker to do that. Japan will now try, they're going to spend 3 politics markers. 1 to move up 1 with South America, and 1 to move up 1 with actually they're going to spend 1 to move up with Asia, and then 2 more to move up with North America. So here's Asia, no, and here's North America, yes. So they have basically nothing happened there. So North America moved it down to embargo, Japan moved it back up to neutral, and they spent 3 politics markers to do that. So I will get the camera here and kind of show where we are at with our factions relations. So South America, you can see, is at free trade with North America, Asia, and China. Japan's at free trade with China, Europe, and Asia. And North America is at free trade with China, Asia, and South America. Okay, so for cash production, both North America and Japan earned $48 billion, and South America earned 46. All right, on to base production. We start with Japan. They're based at Hygeia Palace. Hygeia Palace is 8 ore. They just have a small mining station. They have 4 settlements, which gives them a bonus 1, so they will collect 9 ore here at their Hygeia Palace base. And then their base at Enceladus has a supply value of 5 plus 2, so 7. 7 there. And then they have just a small mining station. They do have 7 settlements, which gives them just a bonus of 1 as well. So they will get 8 supply there at Enceladus. And that will be all for them. Moving on to North America. So we'll start here at Mars. I think they are going to use their research station just to get a little bit of extra tech. I did do a little bit of math for them to see how much biology and physics they needed, and I think they would benefit from getting that biology. So biology on Mars is 6 plus the 2 for life, so that's 8. They only have a small research station. They do have 5 settlements, which gives them 2 on top of that, so they'll get 10 biology tech for that. This is Hygeia Palace here, and again, the value there is 8 for ore, though Japan did just produce, so we're down to 7. Plus 3 for the refinery is 10. They have 14 settlements, so that's 2 more, so they get 12 ore there at Hygeia Palace. Let's see where the camera is at. Let's move that over. So moving on to, there we go. Titan, they're going to produce fuel out there. Titan has a fuel value of 9. We just have a small mining station, but 11 settlements. So that adds 2 to that. So they do get 11 fuel out at Titan. And Ganymede does not have anything out there. All right, and for South America, we've got their near-Earth asteroid base, which produces 8 ore. And that's what they will produce. They don't have any particular bonuses there. Then next up after that, they did get rid of the Mars base, but they do have Ceres. Ceres is going to produce supplies for them, and its base value is 7. They just have 1 settlement, so that's not going to be any bonuses there. So they'll collect 7 supplies. Venus is going to make it's going to make fuel, and Venus is at, let's come over here. Venus is 6 plus 3 for fuel, so they're at 9. They do have 8 settlements, which will add 2, so they will make 11 fuel. And then Europa is going to make supplies, and it makes 9 by default. And they've got 5 settlements there, which will add 1. So they will make 10 supplies here on Europa. All right, that's it for production. I will add in the tech from the world cards when it comes time to develop technologies. So moving on to resource transportation. Looking at the tech tree over there, it looks like everybody can do 10, and then Japan can do 15. So North America moved a few supplies and fuel to their base at Hygeia Palace. I think they're going to try to build their other CV-8 at some point. But then the rest of the resources moved out to Ganymede to start building up that base there. Japan moved everything from their Hygeia Palace base out to Enceladus, and they also moved 1 ore that was currently at Callisto out to Enceladus just to make the numbers even, I think is what just happened. I just did this. I should probably remember. Yeah, so they're at 10 now, which matches up with the 5 fuel they have at Enceladus, though they are going to have to resupply there. So that those numbers may not matter, that they're exactly the correct ratio, but basically the point here is they're moving resources out to Enceladus there to continue to terraform. And South America moved everything they could from their near-Earth asteroid base to their Venus base. At Venus, they still do have their trade marker that is sell fuel. I think they're going to take advantage of that for the money, since Venus produces so much of it, and fuel is probably the least important of the 3 resources for them. So just moved some of that over there as well. All right, next we add an NPF base at 18. It should be somewhere over here by Mars, I think. I guess it's the moon. All right, adding a base to the moon. All right, and I drew randomly from the remaining bases, and we got a base for China, and it will be here on the moon. So that will get a trade marker a little bit later on. All right, rolling for 2 asteroids. First one is at 89. That's going to be pretty far out. Let me take a look at the board here. 89 is going to be Pluto. And flyby for that area does not happen until 2140. So no asteroid there. The second one is at 63. That'll be somewhere. I think that's out at, is it Saturn? Yeah, so 63 is these moons here. So we'll have a asteroid here for Saturn. And then Pirates, first one at 98. That's not going to be anywhere yet. 98 is going to be, is it Haumea? Let's just check to see. Yep, that's out here. So 2140, nothing there. And the second one is at 17. That will be somewhere. So let me get the pirate token. And we'll add 5 billion to the pirate cache. I forgot what the dice roll was. 17. 17 is going to be probably out here at Mars. Is that right? Where's the number? Nope, not Mars. Oh, is that the moon? That is the moon. Okay. So we've got a pirate here at Earth Flyby. So I don't see any combat vehicles anywhere nearby at the moment, but that'll be something for somebody to be able to take on there. All right, we'll go through and add some more trade markers here. Let's see, the base at Near Earth Asteroids does not get one. Here's for the Chinese base at the moon. Oop, that is Cell Supplies. They've already got one there. They've got one. The North American base at Hygeia Palace gets a buy fuel, just like the other two there. Let's see. Coming over to Jupiter, Russia's got a base at Europa that gets sell ore. North America's got their base at Ganymede that gets buy ore. Japan has their base at Callisto, and that will get buy ore. I think this base still has theirs. Yes, that's a sell fuel. This base still has sell fuel, and the European base out there, Uranus, has buy supplies. So that is all that we need to add, I think. All right, next up, develop technologies. I will add up what everybody's got and let you know what we have. All right, so here you can see what everybody's got. North America actually kept up pretty well with Japan this time. South America does not have a whole lot to work with. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get anything or not, but we'll see. All right, I'll see if this shows up. So for biology, both Japan and North America were able to get to CV range of unlimited. Over here in physics, sorry for the glare, physics, what happened over here? Really just North America got CV range 5 on the way over to unlimited range. And then down here in engineering, Japan got to the victory condition, or the point value. What am I trying to say here? The very far right technology for engineering, Japan got out to. And North America got space elevator. South America did pick up that bottom row, that last one, just because they had the points. But otherwise, I don't think they picked up anything else. All right, moving on to settlement growth. So we'll do North America's here first. We're at Mars. They've got 5. So we'll roll for that. Nope, 10. Next up is Hygeia Palace, currently at 14. So they automatically get 1, but just the 1. Titan is at 11. So they get 1, just 1. And then Ganymede is at 5. So they do not pick up an extra 1 either. Moving on to Japan, they have a settlement at Callisto with 2. Nope. The Hygeia Palace has 4. Yes, they do get another 1. And then out at Enceladus, they have 7 right now. They do get the 7, so they add another 1, and they are up to 8. And then finally, moving on to South America, they have, first off, they have the policy that gives them 2 dice, and they get to pick. So Ceres has just 1, and it'll stay at just 1. Venus has 8, so they do get another 1 at Venus, putting them up at 9. And Europa is at 5. And so they do get another one at Europa, putting them at 6. All right, so right now for the policies, both North America and Japan are at 10, which is their limit. South America's at 9. They're at 1 lower because they had to move back from... They were at United Space Diplomacy, and they ended up getting, I think it's just off camera, but United Space Settlement for the extra die rolling for settlement growth. So they are going to go ahead and get the military one just for the initiative bonus, and because there's really nothing else they really need too much. You know what? No, I'm going to take that back. They're going to go up the crew vehicle one, which will either give them $1 billion right now because they only have 3 vehicles and now their limit's 4, or it might open them up to add 1 more crewed vehicle to their fleet. Okay, so with that, that is the end of the economics phase, and that's the end of the episode. Next time we'll be going into the 2130s, and which could be, probably not, but could be the last full decade of the game. So we're moving into the closing decades now of the campaign. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to the next one.